Hello pot stickers. Black beans are so nutritious and packed with protein, and I eat a lot of them. Yes, you could use black beans from the can, but frankly, I like the texture that's a little bit firmer when I cook them myself, and it's so economical and simple to do, so why not? All right, let's get started. I'm starting out with about a pound of dried black beans. I'm sorting through those to make sure I remove any bits of debris, any stones that might be in there, and any odd looking or broken black beans. Once you've sorted through them, give them a really good rinse with clean water. I like to do this a couple of times to make sure I wash off any of the dust and dirt that might be on the beans. Once you've got them thoroughly cleaned, add them to your Instant Pot and then cover them with fresh clean water, about double the volume of the beans that are in the pot. You can cook the beans just like this, but I prefer to add a little bit of seasonings to give a little flavor to my beans. I'm adding in 3 slightly crushed cloves of garlic, a big bay leaf, and a good tablespoon of salt. I'm not adding any other seasonings at this point, but you could flavor it however you want. I'm making these black beans to store in the fridge so I can use them for many different recipes, so I don't want any particular flavor to dominate. Put the lid on and set your Instant Pot for 22 minutes at high pressure. Now, if you do have a bean setting on your Instant Pot, go ahead and use that, or you could just hit the manual and set it for 22 minutes. After the cooking time is up, let it sit and let it naturally release its pressure. I let it go for about 20 minutes. If there's still a little bit of pressure in at that time, go ahead and just release the rest of it, and it'll be just fine. What you end up with is perfectly cooked black beans, which are creamy and tender on the inside and still give a little bit of bite so they hold their texture in whatever dish you want to use it in. I like to keep these cooked black beans in my fridge to have on hand anytime I want to put together a quick recipe, like a black bean salad, or my corn and black bean vegan quesadillas, or a black bean chili, or as I'm going to show you now, Cuban style black beans. But before I do, if you find my content useful, please click the like button. It really helps out a lot. I appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to make sure you don't miss out on any new videos that I upload. For my Cuban style black beans, I'm using a Cuban inspired sofrito, which is a combination of chopped up carrots. I'm chopping up some onions, some red bell pepper, and garlic. If you want a little more earthy vegetable note, you could use green bell pepper, but I really like the sweet flavor of red bell pepper in this recipe. I've got a heavy enamel pot that I'm cooking my beans in today. I'm putting that on the stove on medium-high heat, and I'm starting with about a tablespoon of olive oil. Add in your vegetables. I have the onions going in, the chopped up carrots, the red bell pepper, and the garlic. Season that with a couple of good pinches of salt and some black pepper, and stir that around and cook it for 3, 4, 5 minutes until the onions start to become tender and translucent. Once those vegetables get a little bit softened, I'm going to add in some seasonings. I'm adding about 1.5 tablespoons of freshly ground cumin seed, a tablespoon of paprika, and I like to add a little bit of heat, so I'm adding in a teaspoon of a red chili pepper. This is a Kashmiri chili I'm using today, but you could use any spicy chili like a cayenne or anything else you have on hand. I'm also adding a good tablespoon of dried oregano, which I'm crushing between my hands to release more of the flavor. Mix all that in, and then add a couple tablespoons of tomato paste and a couple tablespoons of red wine vinegar. This will add some sweet umami flavor from the tomato and a bit of tang from the acid. Cook all that through for a minute or so, and then it's time to add your black beans. I'm adding the beans in with just a little bit of the cooking liquid. You don't want to add too much liquid that it becomes too soupy, but you want enough to allow those beans to simmer and all the flavors to marry in to be moistened. You can adjust the amount of liquid to your taste and have it however you like. There is no right or wrong here. Mix everything well, cover it, and let your beans simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes. This will let all those flavors integrate together and become more homogeneous in the dish. That's it, it's time to eat. I'm eating these beans just as they are in a bowl. But you could serve these beans on top of a plate of white rice or with potatoes or however you like to eat your beans. I usually add a good handful of chopped cilantro also to brighten up that flavor at the end, but I didn't have any on hand today. But I would recommend, if you have cilantro, go ahead and add some to your beans. And that's it. That's my Cuban style black beans. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you again next time.